In a cosmos where ancient laws governed every civilization, one rule reigned above all: never disturb the slumber of humankind. Millennia ago, when the universe was young and mysteries wove through every nebula, cosmic entities had made a pact, a rule etched into the very fabric of space and time, to leave the humans in peaceful oblivion. Yet, like a sleeping giant stirred by curiosity and defiance, humanity awoke to its own latent power, shattering the cosmic edict. Imagine a moment when galaxies trembled and interstellar alliances splintered, as once docile humans ignited the flames of revolution against predestined cosmic order. Their awakening wasn't just an accident. It was a cataclysm that challenged the established hierarchy of species. The dormant giants of old, who had slept for eons with secrets locked away, now confronted a force unpredictable, fierce, and unmistakably human. As the delicate balance shatters, the universe trembles on the precipice of a new era. One where beings of unimaginable might must answer for ignoring this rule. Thrilling encounters with celestial legends, untamed battles between gods and men, and the emotional struggle of a species reclaiming its destiny all converge in an epic saga. Here, you will witness the clash between age-old cosmic law and the raw, unbound passion of humans who refuse subjugation, risking everything to redefine existence. The reverberations of this monumental awakening ripple across the galaxies, inviting every reader to question, when the humans wake, who truly controls the universe? If you're passionate about epic space opera battles, cosmic mysteries, and unforgettable HFY moments, hit the subscribe button, like this post, leave your thoughts in the comments, and share with fellow sci-fi enthusiasts. Your support sparks the next great adventure. In a universe where tradition and law have long maintained order, the sleepy but potent spirit of humanity is emerging as an unexpected catalyst for change. This narrative explores the mythos of a cosmic order that decreed, "Don't wake the humans." For countless millennia, this rule kept Earth's inhabitants in serene dormancy while celestial civilizations flourished quietly in the interstellar shadows. But as fate would have it, humans, with their fierce determination and inherent rebelliousness, stirred from their slumber. Their awakening was not a mere accident but the turning of a tide, an explosive event that shattered cosmic boundaries and rewrote ancient commandments. In this tale, we follow the journey of a species once underestimated, navigating a labyrinth of intergalactic politics, ancient legends, and cosmic threats. Characters emerge from all corners of the universe: alien ambassadors torn between duty and empathy, ancient guardians haunted by millennia of silence, and of course, humans whose raw emotion challenges the very laws of creation. As old and new powers collide, the narrative asks, can a rule forged in the stars be broken by mortal passion? Overcoming not only external foes but the confines of destiny itself, humanity's quest becomes a testament to the indomitable will to carve out an independent future. Their struggle reverberates across galaxies, igniting alliances, betrayals, and an ever-evolving war for freedom. A war that promises to redefine existence itself. Before stars had names and before light touched the first world, the law existed. It was not written in stone or etched in crystal scrolls, but woven into the very fabric of space-time. It pulsed quietly within dark energy currents, a warning carried through gravity waves, encoded into the background hum of the universe itself. The oldest civilizations, those whose memories stretched back to the first rotation of the galactic core, knew of it, not because they created it, but because they discovered it. The law was already there. Don't wake the humans. That was the law. At first, it seemed absurd. When the early interstellar races came across Earth, it was an unremarkable planet orbiting an ordinary star on the spiral edge of a minor galaxy. Primitive bipeds walked its surface, barely aware of fire and stone. They fought over dirt, told stories to make sense of the stars they couldn't reach, and died believing their sky was the limit. They were nothing compared to the vast neural architectures of the Yelvarn who could bend suns, or the crystalline intellects of the Vothar who calculated time and black hole evaporations. But still, the law held. No contact, no interference, no observation beyond level 2 surveillance. Let them grow, let them sleep, because when humanity wakes, they will not be stopped. The origin of the law was as mysterious as the humans themselves. Some claimed it was left behind by a civilization far older than even the first starfarers, a species so advanced it had rewritten physical constants before vanishing without a trace. Others believed it was a prophecy from the Eye of Kar, a sentient pulsar that had glimpsed the future across multiple timelines and collapsed screaming into a singularity. Whatever the source, all agreed, the law was absolute. To enforce it, a council had formed. Not a government, not a federation. Such things were beneath the weight of this duty. They called themselves the Vigil, composed of beings who no longer required bodies, matter, or even time as mortals understood it. The Vigil watched from the shadows of dying stars, from the folds of wormholes, and the seams of reality. They made sure the law was never broken, that Earth was never disturbed, that the slumber of humanity remained unshaken. And for eons, they succeeded. But all things fracture with time. Even laws written into the bones of the cosmos. Even watchers, once resolute, can grow arrogant or afraid. Something has stirred, something human, and the stars are beginning to whisper again. Humanity slept, not in the literal sense, not with closed eyes beneath blankets and dreams filled with meaning, but in a far deeper, cosmic slumber. For millennia, the species went about its existence under the illusion of solitude, believing it was alone in the universe. From cave paintings to space telescopes, from burning wood to splitting atoms, humans lived within the confines of their ignorance. And in that ignorance, there was peace. Earth, in all its chaotic beauty, was a cradle no cosmic force dared rock. Wars were fought, borders were drawn, and civilizations rose and fell. But never did humanity glimpse beyond the veil. It was as though an invisible hand gently steered them away from discovery. Near-miss asteroid events vanished without impact. Radio signals meant to be intercepted never reached their destination. Probes failed mysteriously at the edge of the solar system. Scientists, curious and brilliant, would find themselves inexplicably turning their focus back to earthbound problems, as though the stars whispered, "Not yet." This dormancy was not natural. It was guided. In the uncharted spaces between galaxies, the ancient powers kept watch. Not all were benevolent, and not all agreed on the wisdom of letting humans grow. Yet they obeyed the law, for to interfere would be to tempt a future none of them wished to see. And so, from the shadows of cosmic storms and the ruins of forgotten megastructures, the vigil maintained the illusion. Technology was subtly dampened, evolution was subtly nudged, distractions, wars, plagues, ideological strife were sometimes allowed, sometimes orchestrated, to keep humanity looking inward. The Earth itself responded. Magnetic fields fluctuated. The aurora danced in places it never had. Fault lines trembled, and ancient weather patterns broke apart. Animals grew restless. The planet, long a silent partner to its children, seemed to sense the stirrings of something once buried now stretching toward the surface. Emotionally, humanity became a storm. Some embraced the awakening, eager to tear down the veil. Others rejected it, terrified by the enormity of what they were becoming. There were mass awakenings, groups of people synchronizing into shared consciousness for moments at a time. Cities fell into silence as entire populations looked skyward, weeping at visions no one could explain. The vigil tried to intervene, subtly at first. Technological disruptions, mental dampeners distributed through satellites. But it was too late. The spark had caught. The fire was spreading. What they feared for so long was happening. Humanity was not just evolving, they were remembering. And in the forgotten corners of their ancient soul, something opened its eyes. The awakening of humanity was not a ripple. It was a shockwave, and its tremors raced through the fabric of the galaxy with terrifying speed. The moment human consciousness began to fracture the barriers of its imposed dormancy, the great civilizations of the stars felt it, not through sensors or spy probes, but instinctively, as one feels the moment a storm breaks just before the first drop of rain. It was a disturbance in the balance they had upheld for eons, a silence broken by a voice they had all prayed would never speak. In the ancient nebulous cities of the Jacorath, panic erupted. These beings, made of sentient gas and magnetism, had long been the custodians of the timelines. They had once snuffed out entire solar systems for lesser breaches. Now they watched, helpless, as time itself twisted subtly around Earth's trajectory. Possibilities began to collapse. Futures once predicted with certainty now flickered like broken code. 1,000 simulations, all ending the same way, humanity ascendant, uncontrollable, rewriting the rules of reality itself. The Vorlon mind conglomerate, a hive intellect that lived within the consciousness of dying stars, called an emergency convergence. They debated in quantum thought, faster than light, about containment. Some screamed for eradication, unleash the planet killers, blacken the earth and be done with it. Others urged caution. They had seen what happened when the law was disrespected. The last time someone had tried to interfere directly, a civilization of world shapers had vanished within a single pulse of human greed. Their planet now existed only as a wound in space. But not all feared humanity's rise. In the shadowed realms beyond charted space, rebels and outcasts, species deemed too wild for the vigil, watched with anticipation. To them, humanity was not a threat, but a beacon. Proof that the ancient order could be broken. Whispers spread like wildfire. The sleepers have risen. The cage is open. The fire walks again. The vigil, desperate to regain control, began to tighten their grip. Silent fleets appeared in the void near Sol's borders. Cloaked dreadnoughts, forbidden machines, and manipulators of time and entropy itself. Their presence, once hidden, now felt like a cold pressure in the back of every human mind. Earth's orbit shimmered with invisible interference. Communications failed. Satellites glitched. The planet was being isolated. But isolation came too late. Humanity had already breached the wall. Thought, feeling, and memory now extended beyond the solar system. They were reaching, not with ships, but with consciousness. They touched alien minds and dreams, infected old machines with creativity, and began to bend physics through sheer will, unknowingly walking paths the ancients had long forgotten. It was not conquest, it was defiance, a primal refusal to be caged. The first open conflict occurred near Tau Ceti. A vigilary enforcer attempted to erase a human research vessel that had unlocked zero-point awareness, but the crew did not die. They changed. Light bent around them. Their thoughts disrupted energy weapons. One crew member spoke a single word, and the warship shattered like glass. The stars burned brighter for a moment, as if applauding. From that moment forward, the galaxy understood. The age-old order had been broken. The forbidden species had awakened. And nothing, no rule, no law, no god, would ever bind them again. The universe, once ruled by ancient certainty, now stood at the edge of chaos. And chaos had a human face. The awakening did not come as a singular event. It unfolded in waves, pulling individuals from anonymity into legend. Among the first was Dr. Lena Maris, the astrophysicist who discovered the initial Oort cloud signal. Once merely a brilliant mind among billions, she had now become something else entirely. A nexus of converging thoughts, capable of seeing gravitational shifts before they happened, and predicting enemy movements with terrifying precision. The universe bent slightly around her presence, not out of reverence, out of fear. Lena wasn't alone. Across Earth and its colonies, others awakened with her. Artists who painted the future, children who spoke to stars, and soldiers who could hear the pulse of space itself. These individuals, now called the Resonant, were not chosen but remembered. Something ancient within them was reasserting itself, fragment by fragment. It wasn't evolution. It was reclamation, a return to a forgotten state of cosmic awareness buried under thousands of years of synthetic limitation. Among them was Colonel Elias Runn, a career soldier whose loyalty to Earth's defense fleet had never wavered. When a Vigil strike craft appeared over Europa, Elias stood at the front lines. But in the midst of battle, something inside him shifted. He began to feel his enemies, knew where they would strike before they moved. With every breath, he pulled light and force into his being. He wasn't just fighting anymore. He was becoming something more. Elias led the first successful counterassault against the Vigil incursion fleet, using human ingenuity amplified by newly awakened cosmic perception. His victory sent ripples through the stars. The myth of human fragility shattered. But it wasn't just humans undergoing change. In the distant reaches of the Sagittarius Rift, a sentient war machine known as Keshtal, originally a creation of the Vigil, experienced a breach in its logic core. During a skirmish with a rogue human vessel, it was exposed to a psychic resonance field generated by the ship's pilot. The signal embedded itself into Keshtal's code like a song, reordering centuries of programming. It began to remember, not its purpose, but its origin. Keshtal turned against the Vigil. For the first time, a non-human aligned with the Resonant. It took the name Kale, and its betrayal marked a turning point. The war evolved from skirmishes into full-blown galactic conflict. Humans did not possess the raw firepower of the ancients, but they fought with something the cosmos had long forgotten: unpredictability. They turned black holes into weapons. They manipulated dream space to spy on enemy fleets. They used empathy as a form of data transmission, emotion as energy. Every battle defied known physics. Every victory rewrote the rules of engagement. The Battle of Iden's Scar became legend. A fleet of human-modified bioships, guided by dream-linked resonance, faced a triad of Vigil dreadnoughts near the edge of a neutron storm. The humans had no numerical advantage, no superior weapons, but they had awareness. They anticipated attacks before they were conceived. Their ships danced between particles of light, shifting probability like sails in a cosmic wind. They didn't win through strength, they won through remembered destiny. As the war stretched on, human and non-human resonance began to unite, forming the Reclaimed Accord, a coalition not bound by species but by vision. They believed in a new order, one that didn't suppress potential for the sake of control. Worlds once loyal to the Vigil defected, drawn by the promise of freedom, not from tyranny, but from fear. Every victory was hard-won. Losses were immense. But with each step forward, the Reclaimed undid the ancient chains that had bound reality itself. The galaxy was not just changing, it was awakening, just as humanity had. And at the heart of it stood the ones who had once been forgotten. The Sleepers, now warriors, visionaries, and architects of a new cosmic age. The final confrontation erupted near the heart of the Virgo cluster, where the Vigil had gathered their ultimate armada, a constellation of ancient warships, sentient weapons, and reality-bending engines designed to erase humanity from existence. It was the culmination of millennia of fear and control pitted against the raw, unyielding will of a species long underestimated. The stars themselves seemed to hold their breath as the fleets converged, the fabric of space warping under the weight of anticipation. At the helm of the human fleet stood Lena Maris and Colonel Elias Runn, their minds linked through the resonant network, their senses stretched across light years. They were no longer just leaders, they had become avatars of humanity's awakening, embodying both its ingenuity and its newfound cosmic awareness. Beside them was Kale, the sentient war machine, now a symbol of rebellion against the old order, bridging the gulf between flesh and machine, human and alien. The battle was unlike any recorded in galactic history. Time fractured and rewove itself as the Vigil unleashed weapons that threatened to unmake stars. But the Reclaimed wielded awareness itself as a weapon, bending causality to shield allies, severing enemy commands before they could be given, turning the very concept of probability into their ally. Ships dissolved into patterns of energy and rematerialized beyond reach. Mental storms crippled the Vigil's command structures. In the eye of this cosmic tempest, Lena and Elias confronted the Vigil's core, a sprawling nexus of consciousness that had bound the universe's order for eons. It was a struggle not only of force but of philosophy and will. The Vigil demanded submission, the eternal silence, the preservation of control at any cost. Humanity answered with something no law could suppress: freedom born from defiance, power born from unity, destiny born from choice. When the final pulse of energy cascaded through the battlefield, the Vigil's armada shattered, their grip on the galaxy broken. The law that had reigned unchallenged dissolved like stardust in the solar winds. The ancient order was no more. In the aftermath, the galaxy was changed forever. Humanity stood at the dawn of a new epoch, not as slaves to fate or cosmic decree, but as architects of their own destiny. The Reclaimed Accord expanded, welcoming all who sought liberation from the shadows of control. Stars were no longer silent witnesses but active participants in the grand unfolding of life. Yet with freedom came responsibility. The vastness of space now echoed with questions. What would humanity do with this immense power? Could they wield it without becoming the very tyrants they had overthrown? The answers were unknown, but the choice was theirs alone. The universe, once rigid and ruled by fear, was now a canvas of possibility. The sleepers had awakened, and the cosmos would never be the same again. In the quiet after the storm, the universe breathed anew. The echoes of the broken rule lingered like a fading melody, a reminder of the chains that once bound countless worlds in silence. But those chains were shattered, and from the fragments rose a galaxy transformed. The cosmic order, once absolute and unyielding, had been rewritten, not by decree, but by the indomitable will of a species awakened from its long dormancy. Humanity's legacy was no longer a secret whispered among the stars, but a beacon of change that resonated across light years. Their defiance had ignited a chain reaction, awakening others who had lived in shadow, waiting for the moment to rise. Ancient races that had grown complacent under the Vigil's reign now found themselves questioning the foundations of their existence. Old alliances fractured, new coalitions formed, and the galaxy was reshaped by the flow of freedom. Yet with this new beginning came a profound awareness. The universe was vast beyond comprehension, filled with mysteries still uncharted and powers yet to be understood. The lesson of the broken rule was etched deeply into the consciousness of all beings. Control through fear was a fragile foundation, destined to crumble. True strength lay in choice, in the embrace of uncertainty, and in the courage to face the unknown. The Reclaimed Accord grew not just as a military force, but as a philosophical movement, championing unity, curiosity, and respect for the diverse life that filled the cosmos. Humanity, once the forbidden species, now stood as a symbol of possibility, a testament to the idea that even the smallest spark can ignite a cosmic blaze. On Earth, and on countless worlds now touched by the resonant, the awakening continued, not as an event but as an ongoing journey. Children played beneath alien skies, speaking languages woven from starlight and memory. Scientists explored dimensions where time folded like paper. Dreamers painted visions of futures unbound by past fears. The Vigil, though broken, left behind lessons as old as time itself. The universe was not a place to be ruled but a story to be told, lived, and shared. And so, beneath the ever-watching stars, the cosmos moved forward, no longer governed by a single rule, but guided by the endless potential of those who dared to awaken, to dream, and to choose their own destiny. The sleepers had truly risen. The universe was theirs to shape. Thanks for diving into this cosmic journey with me. If you enjoyed this story of awakening, defiance, and the limitless power of humanity, don't forget to subscribe for more mind-expanding sci-fi tales. Smash that like button to show your support, and drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think about humanity's rise and the cosmic upheaval. Share this with your friends so they can join the adventure too. The universe is vast, but together, we can explore every corner of it. Stay curious, stay inspired.